Kids in Cobra Kai can kick your ass, but they can't make you a sandwich, can they? Girl Aisha, Geek XX Chic, and we're back with another reaction to Cobra Kai. We're now into episode 7 of season 3, which is called Obstáculos. Okay, so in the last episode, we got some backstory on Kreese, and we got a little insight into why he is the way that he is, and kind of what led him to becoming the man that we see today. But we also saw that while the LaRussos tried desperately to shut him down, things backfired pretty badly for them, and now Kreese is basically let them know he's going to start messing with them on all levels, not just the kids now. And we also had Johnny get a very necessary pep talk, very different from the one that Daniel got. But basically, by way of Miguel, he's now figured out he has to stop trying to run away from this situation with Kreese and his former students and actually fight for what he cares for the first time in his life. So lots of good stuff going into this episode, ready to jump in. But before I do, if this is your first time to my channel, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully you like it here and you'll think of hitting that thumbs up. It really helps out with the algorithm, which helps me out a lot, which means a lot to me. And if you really like it here, perhaps you'll think of hitting that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified when I do more reactions to this show, as well as many others in the same vein. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. Same message for you. Hopefully you'll hit that subscribe button today if you are interested. We'd love to have you join the fam and on our journey to 10K. All right, that out of the way, guys, let's get into the episode right about now. Help us.
Bobby, Miguel, look where they are now. It's all your fault.
I mean, you got to admit, there is one common denominator there. Just kidding, poor Sam. Really, she should have just done what she said she was going to do in the first season and take a break after dating Kyler. That's an intense dream. You get dead in your dream, girl? You imagine people killing you in your dream, girl? I'm trying to think if I've ever actually had a dream about a fight. I don't think I've ever dreamt about a fight. Definitely had dreams where like I've fallen and like I would have died, but like never like actually being murdered, which I feel like is a good thing. All this time you're spending with Miguel, haven't even tried to go back to Juvie to talk to Robbie. Not once. Okay, these are really expensive pieces of medical equipment. Do not throw them in the garbage. There are so many people who could make use of those.
Looks like Cobra Kai is such a badass name.
What if we just keep that? We spell our Cobra with a K. They can call us Triple K.
Like KKK?
With your Latino student.
I'm not doing karate anymore, okay?
What was that?
Poor parents. They're always like 5 steps behind.
You play hooky today. Yeah, she can skip school. I got the dealership. You know, you go work your Miyagi magic.
Right call. I'm actually 1,000% for parents and students sometimes taking a mental health day. Like, I feel like the whole idea of you always have to be to school, you always have to go to work, like, your family is way more important. And, I mean, sometimes you just gotta let your kids take a day.
Well, we still need a contract. And I'll need to run the credit.
I'd prefer if you didn't. What do you say we just skip all that crap?
The fact that you said that, okay, you can leave now. No, he doesn't want to shake your hand.
You can do whatever you want. It's a public park. Can I get back to my family now?
Yeah, thanks.
Has Johnny not been outside in the last 30 years? Like, did he fall into a time capsule that we don't know about?
It's all in the cast. All right, get your shoulder back.
And don't snag your hair or your father's jaw. I've seen that happen.
I watched Dimitri get his arm broken, and I couldn't do anything. And now I'm having all these panic attacks, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to defend myself again.
He's like, damn, I kind of regret asking the question now. But this is a problem that teenagers have a lot, is that they clam up and think they can't talk to their parents. And I mean, in some cases that might be true, but seriously, Daniel and his wife have both shown that they are the most open-minded parents generally. Like, they're so quick to like defend her and come to her aid. I mean, come on.
I knew there was something wrong even before then. I just thought I could handle it.
Does this have anything to do with that girl, Tori?
Everything.
first time seeing her since.
It's the first person who ever made you truly feel unsafe. And that will be a memory you will carry with you for the rest of your life, unfortunately. All of us have that memory.
Sensei Kreese is turning them into an army of assholes. There's no convincing them to leave. I screwed up.
This is not the crowd, Johnny.
Made it about me.
While I appreciate the growth.
When you came into my dojo, you were softer than a baby's ass.
Facts.
I made you what you are.
Facts.
You want to stick with Kreese? Go ahead.
They will.
Don't say I didn't warn you when your life ends up in the shitter.
Yeah. Did you not see how I was at the beginning? Remember that?
And don't be late. Sorry, kid, old habit.
God. Just truly a dick.
I just can't help but feel a little rush of adrenaline.
It's great, Dad, but you still haven't told me why
Yeah, she's like, this is about you? I thought it was about me.
I thought I was ready. But in the final match, my opponent was ruthless.
My baby Sean Kanan being a little badass.
I just wanted to run off and hide.
But it was my movie, so I couldn't.
It's okay to lose to opponents. Must not lose to fear.
It's such a beautiful line. He's such a good man.
Stay focused.
Sam, you're the only one who could get up when you're down. No one else.
Yep.
I promise.
Daddy can't fix it for you. I'll cheer you on, but you gotta do it yourself. Such a good speech. Look at that. Miyagi would have been proud, Daniel. And that is how a woman can fix everything. Finally did a nice thing. Who knew that a wedgie to the vagina would change your life?
Text of everyone laughing at you.
Taught a little humility, were you?
Okay. Let's not make this a thing.
Yeah, a little moment. You felt a little moment, didn't you? Don't you even that, girl. You felt it. I saw it. He cute. You know, he a little excessive, but he cute. That's right, girl. You do karate on your terms. Don't you dare let Tori take that from you.
Here, catch.
What's this for?
Beating you! Could you imagine? That'd be so funny.
Cast the rod.
Everything's
So the
karate.
fishing trip was karate training after all.
More of a...
He's the guy learned from the best. Not only will you learn life skills, but also how to kick ass. Kids in Cobra Kai can kick your ass, but they can't make you a sandwich, can they?
Cobras are strong. They may be the king of the jungle, but the world's more than just a jungle. I can kill a snake.
A mongoose?
I love smart people. Mongoose dough.
To Eagle Fang Karate.
Eagles don't have fangs.
Shh. Just go with it.
Anyone else feeling a little snug?
Do some more sit-ups. All right, everybody, fall in!
Maybe we shouldn't have gotten, medium for everybody.
Cobra Kai for life.
And that's why you don't tell them you have a new dojo.
This is it, Johnny. It's not going to be another chance.
Thank God. Bye.
Good.
Exactly. Get to step.
You made your choice,
Yes, many times. Goo.
and you are going to regret it.
Never. Biggest regret he had was letting your stupid ass back in his life. Bye. All right, guys. That was episode 7 of Cobra Kai season 3. And good for Johnny on the one hand. The fact that he wasn't deterred by the fact that he couldn't find another space as fortuitously as he had the first time around, knowing that he's basically starting from the bottom again, which sadly is a side effect of quitting repeatedly. You do have to start over repeatedly, but you don't give up. That's kind of the whole philosophy, is that what I took in this episode is really the message of not giving up, even though things do get hard, and realizing you're the only one who can pick yourself up and move forward. I think my favorite part of this episode was definitely the Daniel and Sam moments, because it was very much a Miyagi Daniel moment, but of course, one generation down. Finally, Sam started to open up about the PTSD that she's experiencing from her injuries and from her fight. Like I said, that was the first time in her life she truly felt unsafe. most of us, especially if you were fortunate enough to grow up in a loving home in a fairly safe neighborhood, and in Sam's case, also with money and access and privilege, they really, you really don't experience feeling truly unsafe very often, if at all, if you're very lucky. But in her case, what were the chances that she'd get in a situation where she'd actually have someone with a weapon on their hand pointed at her neck? She actually thought she might die in that situation. It was very possible. Tori was out of control in that fight. The fact that she ripped a literal hole in Sam's arm and was looking to possibly do the same to kill her for all we knew, that would definitely cause most of us a lot of trauma that we carry around for life, most likely, but definitely only a few weeks and months after it happened. So I'm glad that, as I said in the last, well, actually, I think earlier this season as well, I like that the show is bringing up that there are real consequences to this type of behavior. A lot of movies and shows that feature fights and this type of teen drama, they kind of skip over just how deep and dark the after effects and the ripple effects are of these types of, encounters for all the people involved. And even though we're seeing kind of like the sad, scary, anxiety-ridden side of it for Sam, we're also seeing the negative effects it's also having on Hawk and on Tori, but I'll get to them in a minute. But back to Daniel and Sam, I really like that, Daniel, when he saw that she kind of freaked out over the whole, let's start the karate thing again, which of course her parents thought she would want since she was secretly doing the training anyways. Her visceral reaction and running away from it, they were like, ooh, okay, something's up, but they didn't know what it was. And I love that because Daniel and Sam are definitely two sides of the same coin, right? They very much are very similar. And that's why Daniel knew, okay, there's something very deeply wrong here. I got to get to the heart of it. And I love that message. Like I said in the episode, how his wife said, you know what, Sam shouldn't go to school today. You don't need to go to the office. You two spend the day and see if you can get to the bottom of this. Like, this is more important than secular things, right? And as I said in the episode, I think that's such an important message to put out there. I know not everyone has the luxury of being able to not go into work or pull their kid out of school easily, but I am all for that if that is something you can do. And sometimes teenagers especially just need a day. Like, people always think that, mental health and emotional and anxiety type issues only happen with adults, and that's not true. Teenagers deal with a lot too. And especially in the case of they've been dealing with violence or bullying, those things are deeply stressing and emotional. And sometimes your kid just might need a day. And I understand not wanting to teach them that they got to run away from their problems or that they can always not go to school when things don't feel right. But you know what I mean? You got to gauge the situation as a parent. And I feel like this is a very good parenting call here. Daniel taking her out of the school, taking her someplace where she could kind of be away from all of the buzz and the stimulation, and giving her the space. I love that he asked enough to let her know he was genuinely interested and invested. Like, help me understand, why is this, what's going on? I can't help you if you don't talk to me. But then also backing up and giving her some space after she kind of had her initial outburst and said, you know what, you don't have to talk to me right now, but just know that I'm here no matter what. And, just letting Sam know, right? I just thought it was a really good example of parenting and just listening. And it's not just parenting. You can just do that in any relationship that you cherish with somebody, that sometimes you got to be, like I said, invested enough to ask those probing questions and to let them know you care, but also give them the space to come to you when they're ready. And we saw that Sam finally truly talked about what was happening and why she froze up and why she doesn't want to do karate anymore, which really has nothing to do with karate as usual, but with the fear she's experiencing as a result of her defeat, or near defeat, I should say. And then how that particular moment of Sam sharing with Daniel then led to them going back to the All Valley Arena and him talking about what went down in the third movie, where he went and competed in the All Valley competition again when he didn't have to compete, but he allowed his pride and his ego to get him sucked into that world again. But also talking about how he got his ass pretty royally beat between the training, which he didn't even get into, and then of course that fight. Sorry, trying not to sneeze. And I'm sorry, I had to show a little love to Sean Kanan in that one, because I had a little crush on Sean Kanan for a good chunk of the 90s, but digressing. But yes, the fact that Daniel talked about the fact that he basically just got so scared because he'd never been in a position where he was losing so badly, and literally scared for not just like losing, but also kind of his life in that moment after all the fear training that he'd been through. And the fact that Mr. Miyagi, again, if you watch that movie, you know that Daniel and Mr. Miyagi were butting heads that entire film, and they were very much kind of off the same wavelength. And Daniel really did feel deep down like he couldn't go back, right? He really felt like there's no way that Mr. Miyagi is ever going to forgive me. We're not going to find our way back to each other. And Mr. Miyagi in that moment came to him on the mat and was like, no, Daniel, look, it doesn't matter if you lose this match. What matters is if you lose to fear. And I love that line. I remember hearing it and being like, oh my God. Such a gem of a line. So true in life. Like, we're going to lose sometimes, in the sense that sometimes we're not going to have things work out the way we want. Sometimes we're going to lose a relationship, lose a job, lose money, lose time. You get my point. There's going to be situations that just aren't going to be what we want them to be, but that's okay. But it should never be because we are so overcome with fear, we don't take that step. And that's what he was trying to explain to Sam, was while her fear around the situation that happened with Tori was valid, and of course, by extension, Robbie getting, sent to jail and Miguel getting hurt, but she still has to move forward. She needs to push past that guilt, which is a big part of why she's also having this issue, but also this fear of Tori, because the reality is Tori is probably going to show up in her life at some point again, and she cannot afford to always run screaming from this situation, because if it starts now, it's just going to ripple effect into other areas of her life. And, I mentioned earlier about how the ripple effects of what happened with that fight are affecting Dimitri and Tori. Tori had that conversation with Miguel last episode where basically she said that her fear over what happened with the fight, because she knew deep down that it was her challenging Sam to the fight in front of the whole school that started the situation that ended with him in that situation. It kept her from going to the hospital and kept her from basically, trying to at least be there for him. And we see that, she kind of came up with all of her excuses. Like, she's using her sob story as an excuse for all of the things she knows she's not supposed to be doing, aka bullying people in school, stealing, or in this case, not owning up to the fact that she did start that fight and that it ended badly for Miguel, right? So he kind of brought that up in her face, and of course she didn't really want to hear it. And then this is kind of why she's doubling down with the Cobra Kai stuff, because of course Kreese is trying to tell them the same messaging, like, oh, it doesn't matter about that. It just matters that you come out on top. You just got to keep fighting, right? Which is not true. It's going to turn you into a loser. Like Johnny said to them at the school, they're going to end up ruining their lives with that philosophy. But that's kind of Tori's take. And then with Hawk, aka Eli, we see that his conscience is obviously bothering him, and kudos to the actor. He's doing a great job of kind of getting, despite the mean mugging and the posture from time to time, you see it in his eyes, you see it in his facial expressions. He is questioning everything. He doesn't feel good about what he's done. He clearly feels guilty about Dimitri. And then of course, Miguel being upset with him, that was another blow. And so, he's trying to fight his conscience right now because he knows deep down what he's doing is stupid and wrong, but he's just so far into the world now that his pride doesn't want to let him admit that. And yeah, when that happens, it's always a losing battle. Like, you can try to go as far to the left or right of your morals as you think you need to try to break them. But truthfully, if it's a really deeply ingrained belief or moral that you have, you'll never feel better. You're just going to feel worse and worse and worse and worse. And you're going to have to keep doing worse and worse and worse and worse to try to desensitize yourself. And a lot of times it just doesn't work. So he's learning that lesson the hard way. And I'm not surprised that he went and got Kreese. Yeah, I think we've already figured out that Hawk's going to have to learn things the super hard way before it finally starts to sink in that he is on the wrong path. But not all is bad. We saw at least the one bright spot for Dimitri in this episode is that it looks like him and the former most popular girl in school might be finally starting something off after the atrocious way he tried to hit on her in season 1. So who says dreams don't come true, right? So yes, another great episode. I love this season so much. It's great to get this refresher before I jump into the newest season. So I enjoyed watching this episode a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next episode.